and welcome to Nenagh Library. We are delighted to welcome everybody to Nenagh EDIC's final event for our 2020 calendar, our Soapbox competition. We're always delighted to take part in this competition and are continually surprised to hear the passion with which people argue their case for or against a particular motion. This year, that motion was, we all want to go back to a pre-COVID way of life. An obvious topic for discussion, but true to form, all of those who took part looked at this topic with a critical eye. They considered all angles, and they didn't, many of them, take the most obvious route. They took the time and they made intelligent, well thought out arguments and points to debate their case for or against it. And we do appreciate the efforts that they made, that all of them made, especially this year, a year that's more than usually chaotic. We would like to thank all of those that took part. We particularly like to thank the young people. We always like to hear from the different students from the different schools, and in thanking them, we must also thank their parents, their teachers, everyone who supported and encouraged them. Now, I would also like, before I hand you over to our chairperson, I would like to take this time to introduce and thank our judging panel this year. They included Lindsay Cleary, who is a refugee resettlement worker with the Youth Work Ireland Tipperary, Sean Butler, a winner in last year's Soapbox competition and current president of Nenagh Toastmasters. And our chairperson this year is Pauline Strapp, coordinator of the EVS programme at Eurodesk. And we're delighted to have Eurodesk join us this year in support of our Soapbox. So, without further ado, I will now hand you over to our chairperson, Pauline Strapp.
Hi, I just want to congratulate Mary Spillane on winning the Soapbox competition in Tipperary, hosted by Europe Direct in Nenagh, and Mary was the winner in the over 18 section, so well done, Mary. Thank you.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this Soapbox event. Today I'm going to be arguing against the motion that everyone wants to go back to the pre-COVID way of life. I know what you must be thinking. Did she inhale too much hand sanitizer this morning? Is she social distancing from her common sense? Well, let me tell you about some of the positives of the last 9 months and why I believe there are huge advantages to sticking with some COVID-induced changes. The first is the increased level of freedom for office workers. Before the pandemic, we were slaves to the 9-to-5 routine. We structured our lives around it. Commuting, childcare, meal times, all because there was no flexibility in the system. Nowadays, we're able to take that extra 10 minutes of lunch if we need to, or nip out at 3 for the school run. Not to mention the people who spend an hour or two commuting every day. Cutting this out, even for a couple of days a week, would have far-reaching positive consequences. As an introvert, I am a huge fan of the decreased social pressure that came with the virus. Don't get me wrong, I love a get-together, but I believe we often find it hard to refuse, even if we don't want to go. As Irish people, we're great to go to funerals. Any feigned connection to the deceased, and we attend their mass en masse. But now that we can't anymore, don't we all feel a little better that we couldn't go rather than just didn't? Isn't it suddenly much easier to avoid those expensive Christmas drinks with a crowd of people you're not really that fond of because of COVID? I certainly believe that learning to say no has been a huge benefit of the pandemic to many people, and emphasises again why not everyone wants to return to the old normal. The final point I'd like to make is the positive effects on the environment from all of this. A recent study published in Nature found that daily carbon emissions had been reduced during the pandemic by 17%. This is in no doubt partly due to the fact that we're no longer commuting or holidaying on the same scale. While, of course, I want my summers in Spain again, I believe the virus has taught us a lot about balancing our own happiness with our planet's needs. This is something I fear we'd lose sight of if we just went straight back to the way things were before March. In conclusion, I strongly believe that not everyone wants to go back to the way things were pre-COVID. We're now adopting a more flexible and realistic work pattern. We face less pressure from society as we've learned to say no. And of course, our climate has benefited hugely from our reduced mobility. I think it's important to make the distinction here that not the pre-COVID way of life does not mean the COVID way of life. I believe in freedom, but I am certain that these are valuable changes we want to take forward. Thank you.
Well done to Michaela Grace Ginty, who won the under-18 section of this year's Soapbox competition in conjunction with Nenagh Europe Direct Centre.
Adjudicators, timekeepers and members of the floor. Living with COVID has been deadly, drastic and draconian. The figures in all spheres of life are daunting. Mentally, socially, emotionally, the toll is tremendous. The litany of sorrows is staggering. But my objective here tonight is to convince you that life after COVID will be better, not worse. As the master of a poet Derek Mann put it, everything is going to be alright. Undoubtedly, COVID-19 paralysed us, but science, prayer and kindness came to our aid. The advancement and unity of scientific development since the COVID-19 pandemic have been spectacular. While political leaders have locked borders, scientists have been shattering them, creating a global collaboration unlike any other in history. Now medical advancement is bound to follow in its wake. But what of society? If one examines the long-term social results, they are profound. Globally, people have become more caring, especially to those in need. Working at home has become incredibly popular. It reduces commute times, cuts down childcare costs, decreases high population density and creates a better standard of living. We as a society have a new appreciation for our essential workers. Not just our superb healthcare staff, but our shopkeepers, shelf stockers, lorry drivers, cleaners, postmen. We have realised, our society, the colossal need for these unskilled workers. Politically, our world is ever-changing. The coarsening of public discourse, which has become a feature of the last few years, the strongman antics of some of our world-elected leaders, the contemptuous disregard for the poor and ill-disposed, have all been exposed by COVID. This borderless disease has taught us the importance of collaboration between the North and South of our country. Economically, it's been tough, but there are so many positive trends. People are buying local when they can. Small businesses are diversifying using e-commerce. People who usually holiday abroad are staying put for their staycation. With less people living in cities, the extraordinarily high rent prices will decrease substantially. The quality of our life really matters now that life itself has been endangered.
My name is Sean Kelly, MEP for Ireland, the European Parliament and leader of Fine Gael in the EPP group. I'm delighted to make this video and I compliment Europe Direct Information Centres and public libraries for organising this wonderful soapbox. I've always admired their work. Europe Direct Information Centres are bringing information to the public, which is so badly needed, and of course the libraries are renowned all over Europe for the great work they do in facilitating young people, middle-aged people and older people through coming to the library or working online. So the soapbox competition is very good. I wish you well in it, and even if you don't win, you've already won because you've gone to the effort of making it and using your talents to compete in the competition. We're talking about Europe and everybody wanting to go back to pre-COVID ways of life. Well, we obviously want to do that, especially in relation to social activity. We miss the opportunity to go shopping, to go to restaurants, to go to pubs, to go to football matches, or just go to our friends. That will probably come back now that we're going to have a vaccine, thank God. But other things will not go back to normality. Things like, which we have got used to now, online shopping, there will be more e-health, there will be definitely more working from home. All that's good. And in the European Parliament we'll be encouraging that, because I'm involved in two major committees, the Industry Committee and the Trade Committee. The industry is very exciting now because the Green Deal about saving the planet, which young people have played a huge role in creating that awareness, we are now putting into action all the things we need to do to make that happen, so that we live up to our Paris Agreement commitments and we save the planet for you and for future generations. Trade is very important as well because we buy and sell goods all the time, and with a smaller world now there's going to be more interaction worldwide. Joe Biden becoming President of America will help to open up the world again to open rules-based trade, and we, particularly in my country, Ireland, will benefit from that, but everybody in the European Union. So, once we get over COVID, which we will, the world will be at our feet again, and you, the young people taking part in these competitions, will enjoy, hopefully, a long and fruitful life, and stay involved and stay committed to your library. The library is a wealth of knowledge. The more knowledge we have, the better for us, the more we can achieve. Best of luck. Thank you very much.
Hello all. Damien Dulacon Sanam Dum, August Mission Lauren Lee Conte. Well, that's everyone for another year. My thanks to all those who participated in this year's Soapbox, adults and young people, for their willingness to take part and engage with the topics under discussion. Everyone wants to go back to a pre-COVID way of life. Could be said to be a fairly straightforward topic for debate, but it was wonderful to hear the differing viewpoints and the conviction which people argued their point. It was reassuring as well to see the same high standard of debate this year in the Nenagh EDIC Soapbox as there has been in other years. And I would also like to echo Margaret's words and to say thanks very much to our judges. We really appreciate their help with this work. It was great to welcome back Sean Butler, President of Toastmasters Nenagh and last year's regional winner of the competition. Lindsay Cleary, who despite her busy schedule as refugee resettlement worker with the Youth Work Ireland Tipperary, she still came on board as soon as we asked her. And finally, our chairperson, Pauline Strapp, coordinator of the EVS programme at Eurodesk Ireland. We are particularly happy to be collaborating with Pauline and Eurodesk Ireland, which is celebrating 25 years in existence, providing information on European opportunities such as travelling, studying and working in Europe for young people through its Time to Move campaign. And finally, I would like to thank and congratulate our two winners of this year's Soapbox competition. Mary Spillane from Nenagh, who took the prize in the adults category, and Michaela Grace Ginty of the Ursine Secondary School, Thurles, who won in the young persons category. Well done to you both. In speaking to the judges, they cited that in both cases, the clarity and conviction of your arguments stood out. And in awarding first prize to both of you, it was your ability to make the point in such a way that it stayed with those who heard them that was the deciding factor. So congratulations. You are the winners of the Nenagh EDIC Soapbox competition in 2020. Your entries have been forwarded to Dublin to take part in the national competition. Good luck. Gurv Mila Mahagut.